Hey! Mr. O
Look who it
and
is.
Lauralie. Hi, guys.
Hi, good morning.
Oh my God! All the way to Oxnard in your new pad.
That's the Ozark.
That's right. Have you been watching that show?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God!
It's so good. I can't wait.
Oh my
We
God!
watched it in like 3 days or something.
Are you caught up on the whole thing, or did you watch the whole thing?
That's the part that sucks. It's like you get to
I
the
know.
last when you're like, gotta wait.
I
To
know.
see what happened next.
Oh my God!
It's like the anticipation of now what?
Jay just got into it a week and a half ago, and he binged all 3 seasons. I can't believe it. He says he was watching it 6-7 hours a day, which is a lot for him because he has no attention span.
It's like staying up until 3 a.m. trying to get as much in every
Oh my God, that show's awesome.
Yes,
Very
sir.
cool. Well, thanks for having us in your house, Shawn and Lauralie. It's so very cool. We're gonna talk today. We're gonna do an in-depth interview with the beautiful Lauralie. It's something we talked about for a couple months now, and since there's no traffic, we figured this was a good time to do it, to come to Oxnard. Very cool. Thank you so much for having us in your home, guys. That's awesome. Hi, I did my next 6. We are in Oxnard today, and it's Easter Day. So happy Easter. We're here with at the home of the beautiful Lauralie and Mr. Olympia, Shawn Roden. Thank you so much for having us over here. Lauralie, this is something we wanted to do for a couple months now, and you brought this to my attention. You really wanted to do an in-depth interview about your coming up in the industry and how you started. I thought it was such a good idea because I did one of these a few years ago with Shawn. Actually, I think it was my first real interview with him. I think it's got to be like 4 or 5 years ago, and it turned out to be. And I didn't know what to expect with Shawn because he's not something who's very vocal, who says a lot. And that interview, which turned out to be an hour and a half, was so great. He said so many things, and he opened up so much that it turned out to be a great piece. We actually did it in 2 parts. So of course, because you live with Shawn, you guys talk all the time and everything, and he was encouraging you to sort of do the same thing, so people understand a little bit where you're coming from and what your path has been so far in the industry. Because we kind of just learned from you a couple of years ago, and you kind of went from being a nobody to second in the world. And people always have that sort of like impression, that people are just born overnight and are doing well overnight, when there's in fact a lot of backstory. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today, and give you the chance to talk about that.
Exactly. It's like I feel like people thought I was just born like in 2018 Olympia. Like that just my life started there, but there's so much before, and that what makes me appreciate what I have right now. So I feel like it's so important to tell your story.
Yeah. How old are you right now? Because I'm always saying 22, 23, but are you a little older?
24.
24, okay.
I turned 24 in February.
Okay, so I met you when you were 22, okay. Or 23. So, talk to me a little bit about life back home. We've touched on it a little bit here and there throughout the interviews, but I really want to go back and explain where you came from, your childhood. We met your brothers, we had a chance to meet them last time, but talk about your family life, you going through school back east in Montreal, and what you were hoping to do as an adult, because I'm sure being, a champion Olympian bikini competitor was not in the cards back in the day. So take me back a little bit when you were going to school and in high school, and what you wanted to, or you were hoping to do with your adult life.
All right, so like every kid, like you go to high school. I come from a good family. Like I have a very good parents. They're very conservative. They're hard workers, and now I realize they gave me so much as an example. They set the example for me to work hard at everything that I do. So I was in high school. I started working, having my first job, and having that need of independence very, very young, like about 11 years old. Like I was.
Really?
I was babysitting, and then I had a referee job for soccer. Like any possibility for me to be away on my own and take care of my own stuff, I wanted to. And that I think that kind of set my path of being by myself. So, anyways, all that being said, I'm in high school. First 3 years, I went to a certain high school. Then I was always in trouble.
Why? Were you a rebel child?
I was not rebel, but like kind of bored at school. So like that makes me do like all kind of stuff.
Such as?
Such as just being, like a little bit crazy, here and there with my teachers. That's always like nice, and being kind of a bad leader in some kind of way, like making would like when we would play. We would play the groundhog. Like you just like when the teacher is speaking, like someone is just standing up, and then you sit down, just like all like this kind of stuff you do like as a kid. And I remember I would come back home with these like red papers every single day with my mom, and like something twice a day, and always be like at school and in trouble. But then I changed school to another school that was like more art oriented.
Okay. Were you going to, sorry real quick, were you going to French school or English school? Because your English I always thought was great for someone coming from Montreal. So the school you're talking about was French or English?
So high school was in French. I went in preschool when I was very, very young in English.
Really?
And, yeah, the first book that I read was English.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Your parents want you to learn?
Yeah.
That's good.
Because they've been in, they both work in English.
Okay.
So my mom is in finance and my dad was a consultant, like he was traveling all over the world.
It's not typical for people from Montreal, just so you guys know. People from Quebec and Montreal, they're very, very afraid of losing their heritage and their language. So most people that are French-speaking Canadians, they don't like English much.
Especially, like I feel like South Shore, where I'm from, is like they're especially more like in depth into like keeping their roots and keeping their French, but would speak French at the house. And then my mom it was more my mom, like very, because she had a hard time learning English older, she was like pressuring that we learn English.
That's good.
So yeah, but after the Law 101 passed for keeping the French, because my mom didn't go to high school in English or something like that, like I had to change school.
I see.
So I went to French school. So the high school wasn't in French though, all in French.
Okay.
And it started in high school, like I was 17 years old, and 17 years old, you start going out with your friends, you're kind of trying to find yourself, but you don't really look at your future. You just know that you want to go to CEGEP and like go. CEGEP is like something in Quebec, especially. It's like post high school.
It's like college.
Yeah. So what you want to do afterwards, and for me, it was just clear into my head that college and university and having somewhat of a higher degree, MBA or whatever, was my path, and just because of security, just security-wise, you want to have a good job, a good revenue. Like I've never seen my parents struggle, so of course I wanted that for myself. Until I went to the gym one day, but still, I was still working all this time. I still have sometimes 2-3 part-time jobs, just because I wanted security, not because I didn't want to rely on anybody. I've always been like that. I could have been like, my parents, like, even my parents, they were like, just focus on school, don't have a job, like, we'll give you. I was like, no, like, I want to take care of myself. I want to buy my own clothes. I want to buy my own stuff.
What were the jobs that you had? A 2-3 part-time job? What were they?
I had a spa job, like working in a spa.
Okay.
And 2 waitressing jobs.
Wow.
At the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Working
that's
in the
tough
kitchen
work.
and stuff. Yeah. I worked in the kitchen for like 2 years, and then I up to waitress, wait table service.
What were you doing in the kitchen? Cooking food?
Yeah.
You were a cook?
So I was like working in this place to prepare food for, how do you say that, les frères? Les frères comme à l'église.
Oh, the brothers? The pastors or people?
Yeah. So they were like 50 of them, so we had to, I was doing 12-hour shifts. I was like 14 years old, something like that. Yeah. 12-hour shift on Saturday and Sunday, and then going back to school on like from
Oh my God.
Monday to Friday. That was like my weekends all the time.
Wow.
But
When did you ever have fun? Did you ever have, I mean, it seemed like you had no life when you were young. Like you just, all you did is school and work.
yeah, I find that fun. It's so weird. Like even when I was younger, I wasn't the one to call my friend and like, oh, let's go out. I was just like, I was okay being at home and like watching like cooking show or like being with my mom or just like doing my own stuff. So
Wow.
yeah, I've never been.
So you weren't very social? No? You weren't like,
Not really.
Not really?
I became social.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've always loved being by myself because I feel that I don't know, you can control like how your day's going. Like if your day's going bad, it's your fault. If your day's going good, it's your fault.
you can
know?
certainly control the drama when there's less
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
I know.
I get it, yeah.
And I'm still like that today. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, 14 years old, you're working a lot. You're going to school. Then, what happened?
So high school, still have like 2 jobs. I don't know. I work so much. I see my parents work so much, and my dad was always like flying out of the country. And I seen my mom like she was leaving every morning. Woke up at 4 a.m., leaving at 5, and then come back in like the bus from Montreal like at 6, 7, sometimes
Wow.
8, 9. Sometimes you wouldn't see her.
Who takes care of you guys when you were little?
I mean, my parents, they were like, my mom is so organized. Is the woman, I've never seen anyone so organized. She had a list for everything, but that's how she managed her time. But we didn't have like many babysitters. Like I can't remind myself that we had so many babysitters. Like I know we had some, but something with my aunt or something like that. But
Wow.
my parents did an amazing job at that, just like making sure we were like very well taken care of. But they also teach us how to take care of our own self. So very soon we've been able to or I was able to make the meals, or my mom would cook something in the crock pot and then eat something quick because we had soccer or whatever. We had activities and stuff. So they always kept us pretty busy, and being able to have a very tight schedule but getting everything done, and everything done in a good way. So they were always looking at our score sheets from school.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah. No, and I was in trouble. I a very troubled kid, but I had very good grades too. But I had to keep on my grades. That was very important for
They
my
were on
parents.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So high school, 17 years old, and you're kind of trying to be that different, and when I remember it just happened so quickly. I read something on bodybuilding.com. I remember I was in English class and I started reading on it, and it was in Steve Cook diet, and I was just let me write this down. And the weekend I already had planned that I would go to this Montreal store downtown, take their own bus, because they had this buy one get one free kind of thing. I could get a 1 BCA and one pot of whey. And when I came back home, I remember hiding it because I didn't want anyone to ask questions. I was this is my thingy. I don't want to, and you don't want to set people kind of expectations. You're I'm gonna do my own stuff. If something happened, well, I'm gonna be the only one who knows, and then that's it. But then you kind of have to start bringing your Tupperwares at parties and stuff. So
how old are you when that happens? When you go to that store, and how old are you?
16, turning 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then, so Canadian, we turn major at 18.
At 18, yeah.
But you start going out at 17, fake cards and all kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was starting to go out and everything with my friends and having a good time, from Thursday to Monday,
Where do you find the time? You're so busy all the time. I don't even know how you can go out.
Well, you go out and then you sleep just a little bit and you go back to work.
I've done that a couple times.
Right? I remember.
When you're young, you can't do that.
Yeah. And I was the first one who had her car, so I was
oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I could go back to work the next morning or sleep in my car after that. So then, you start kind of being more regimented. So you bring your Tupperware to parties, and like people are like, okay, what are you doing? You know, like asking questions and judging. And I've been always I've always had a hard time to communicate how I was feeling. So I was it was easier for me to hide instead of kind of explaining what I was doing. But that harmed myself so much and make it like so hard for me even more, because people felt they had the freedom to judge me even more because I wasn't speaking up for myself, and I wasn't like telling no, that's what I'm doing and that's where I want to be and that was my goal. Like, no, it was just I want to go to the gym. Okay, but you've been yesterday. Like, what difference it's gonna make? I just want to go to the gym, so I would just like, close my phone and go to the gym and like start doing like every little thing and hiding, and then not going out anymore, and then your friend like start judging you, and especially in a sport like bodybuilding, it's like you're trying to then you know you're setting yourself to a competition. So okay, in 12 weeks I'm gonna compete. So in 12 weeks you're gonna compete. Why are you like eating chicken right now? And it was like so not understood like back then. In the days we didn't have like so much YouTube and resources, and especially in Quebec, it's not a well-known sport.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this thing where people see like the no guarantee, like the security that I was telling you, like going to school is secures you a job at some point, but like bodybuilding, it's not because like you make all those sacrifices that you're gonna win. It's not, and you're an amateur before, so you're paying the 1,500 for a bikini, and then you're paying all of this from your own money, and then people are like, so what exactly are you gonna win? What are you gonna get? And try to tell someone that you're not guaranteed of getting anything, but you're still putting all the money, all the work. And I worked harder at my job. I would like extend my hours just to be able to pay for my own stuff. My first bikini was out of eBay, and I bought literally from the craft store and glue it myself on my bikini, because that was the only thing I could afford, you know? Because I wouldn't go to my parents and tell like, oh mom, like please, I'm doing a competition, this is gonna be very good for me. It's not like soccer, you know?
Yeah.
Soccer is just like more easier to explain because, you know, like your parents pay for soccer, you're going to your soccer game, you're practicing your soccer game, but gym is just going to the gym, and
it's a hobby. Yeah,
it's like superficial and what's not. And I've never been able to explain that to my parents until, you know, my parents never came to see me before I turned pro.
So this is all hidden from your parents. They have no clue what's going on at this point.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
And does it make you feel bad for you to have to hide it, or you just don't want to deal with asking the questions and all that stuff? Is that's why you're doing it?
I mean, I've cried, you know, like I've been hurt about that so much, you know, that I had to hide something that was actually good for me, and it was so confusing for me that just they would I was judged because I didn't go to Tim Hortons, or that, you know, I wanted to do something for myself. And
did people think you were becoming what's the word? Did they think you were becoming like full of yourself and like oh, who do you think you are, like that type of attitude? Yeah.
So much.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, and I know that you know what I mean, like by people, like when you start dreaming about something that seems so unachievable by everybody, it's just, okay, like who do you think you are? Like you think you're better than anyone else? But like, truth is you're not, and it's not because I finished second at the Olympia that I'm better than anyone else right now. I've just worked so hard to be where I'm at right now.
It's hard to deal with that. It's hard to deal with the fact.
As a young, like you're not even an adult right now. Like you're still trying to figure yourself out, and you're doing something that you love. And I was just so sure that I was passionate about it. So I was just like hanging on to it, but I couldn't fight for myself. I couldn't be like if my mom would tell me like this is freaking useless, I was just like telling her like, yeah, it's probably freaking useless, you know. Or if someone was telling me like this is dumb, I would be like, this is dumb, you know. Like but I would still find myself going to the gym and still putting in the work and still do the diet. I don't know why, but I was like, this is my calling. Like I have to do it. I have to do it.
I think that's why you hit it. It's because you didn't want people to shut down your dream. If you were actually open and tell people this is what I would like to do, and eventually I could see myself competing at the highest level on the Olympia stage, they would just tell you you're crazy and you're an idiot. So it's better not to say anything. That way you can just keep at your goal as long as you can.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
And like not set expectation
Yeah.
on anyone and just like fail. Like that's I've been afraid to fail, but not the failure of like losing on the stage or just failing like all the work that you've put in. Like, am I failing if I set expectation on someone else? Like for example, if I tell my mom I'm gonna win, like if I don't, then it's gonna hurt me even more, you know.
When so you said your parents never actually went to go see you compete until you became a pro. Okay, so how many years are we talking about?
So that's 2, 3. They came actually to my not my pro debut, my second year as a pro.
Wow.
When I won at Toronto. So that was 4 years.
And what did they say when you finally get pro status and you go compete in the professional and you start winning? What's their mind frame? What are they telling you?
I mean, they became fan like right away of what it was. It took time though, and I had to have a discussion with them about me being an athlete, and that changed the entire game because it was just to tell them like, you know, like Tiger Woods before being Tiger Woods, he drove probably so many balls like in practice so many times, or Michael Phelps, like being Michael Phelps, you know, he probably like he swam so many times before being Michael Phelps that people were probably like shutting down on him, but he still show up for himself. So that's how I approached it to my parents. Like, I'm an athlete, this is what I'm doing, but still they were like, okay, but you're going back to school, you know.
Yeah, they're probably like, how do you make any money out of this?
Yeah.
How are you going to be able to support yourself? Mm-hmm. That's always the parents' question because they worry about you.
Yeah,
so they want to make sure that you're fine. Wow. Okay. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the fact that I've never asked them for anything, like I've never asked them to endorse me, sponsor me, or whatever. It was all me. But of course, they like. My mom is in finance, you know. Like she's like, why you're not saving your money? You know, like all these kind of like.
You're wasting your money.
Yeah, wasting your money and everything, but. It's to explain to your mom, like, I'm not wasting my money, like, this is my passion, like, I'm investing in myself, but how do you invest in yourself? Like, what's gonna happen next? Like, are you gonna get paid? And it's not like you become a pro and, like, you have all this sponsorship coming up. I went to the Olympia in 2018, I had no sponsor, I had no coach, I had nothing, you know? I had just me, myself, and I, the hard work that I put on every day, the diet, that's all I knew, and...
Wow. Did you ever, that's a silly question maybe, but did you ever figure out how much money it actually cost you for you to compete at the Olympia? Did you ever add it up?
Yeah, I've added up because my first year of competing, my pro debut, I only did 2 shows. I did Toronto, and then I did Miami. That was my first show in the US actually. And I finished 5th, and I wanted to do Baltimore, but I moved in my first apartment at the same time. I was 19.
Wow.
And I had to cut it right there because I had no more money to afford it. No money to travel, no money to pay for my hotel.
Wow.
So then I started saving my money to compete. And I mean, I did Toronto, I did Chicago, I did Tampa, and I did the Olympia right after.
Wow.
Thanks God, the Olympia.
They paid for you.
They paid for you to go because that was it for me. After Tampa, I was like, I can't go back, and I was going back to work right afterwards. But still, I was, and I remember I was in school too, doing an internship, and that internship wasn't paid, so I was spending my whole entire week not paid.
Oh jeez.
From 8 to 5, and then I have to work on the weekends, prepping between them. And then you have winter. Winter costs a lot of money in Quebec, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
what's the internship that you were doing?
I was doing a business management internship, so like in an office job. Even the office job, I remember you don't want your coworkers to see like you're eating tuna at 10 a.m. in the morning. So I was like literally getting those like small Tupperwares and be like, I'll be right back. Get a coffee in the cafeteria, take my lunch like in secret, go in the bathroom, eat real quick my tuna, and then time myself for the 3 hours. Like I was.
Jesus.
Yeah. But that's what I did, and I didn't ask myself questions. I just did it. You know.
When did you decide? Okay, I'm going to completely branch out from quote unquote regular job life, stop the internship, and just focus solely on training and your career?
When I stopped, like I gave my, that was not even after the Olympia, it was after, for the Arnold.
That's a big decision when you do that.
After the Philippines, yeah, because I stopped school, because I went to university. I did one semester, summer semester. And I realized it was like pretty hard for me to do like 100, and I also noticed that everything that took time off the gym or took time like for me off to be like on point with my meals, like if I would have like not my meals with me, I would have a bad day.
Yeah.
That's how focused I was on my goal and how like goal driven I was. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. It doesn't make me happy at all. So I've been convinced, you know what, but the person that I was with before in a relationship, just like give up my job. Not give up my job, but stop school. And then slowly I was able to, I
Focus everything on,
and put everything on just competing. But I was still, I'm still, if I go back to Quebec, I'm still an employee at the restaurant I used to work.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're saving your job for you?
Yeah, they're saving my job.
They must like you a lot.
I mean, yeah, because like you also did with the thing with working out at the gym and doing this sport, like you develop a discipline that you're doing this for yourself. And even when I was working, I was doing extra, but doing extra to being able to tell myself that I'm achieving myself every day, like even at a regular job, because there's no such thing as regular when you just overcome yourself every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, people employers were loving me because I was like always doing like more and more and more just because I wanted to do more for myself. So yeah, I'm still on the payroll.
Wow. So that's in your nature to just go above and beyond, and they saw that. So of course, people like that. But you touched on something real quick, which you never talked about before. We never talked about, just like when you just popped on the scene and you got second in the Olympia, we always knew you as, or at least we are now, Shawn's girl. Okay. There was a life before Shawn. There was a relationship back home, and you never really talked about. And even when we did some interviews, sometimes we never really talked about who in detail who helped you as far as coach and everything like that. But when we put out the interviews, sometimes people will comment, "Oh, she never mentioned her ex-boyfriend who was helping her out." Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or is it not a good subject?
We sure can, and this is something I've never addressed in any interview because it's still very, like, I'm getting emotional right now because it's still like, it's still open wound for me. Like, I've become a woman. Like, I've dated this guy at the same time that I've started the sport. Like, that I've made the decision of becoming to compete and going to the gym, and there's been so much happening. Like, I became a woman with that person. Like, I became the person that I am today because of all that, but because of being in a relationship with that person. And
did you meet at the gym? Where did you guys meet?
We did at the gym, yeah.
So you get interested in the gym, and of course you met him, and okay.
Exactly. We met at the gym, and it went like very fast. And he's the complete opposite of anyone that I know. Meaning he's very extreme, and I've always been like in as I said, like a conservative family, so we're always like in a kind of a gray zone, but him, it was like black and white, and you know, it was not a relationship approved by my parents.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. So I moved. 17 years old. I moved out of my parents' house.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think I've banalized my sport, like what I did. Not banalized, but like that it wasn't great because I didn't have the support from my family, because I didn't let them have the support, because I just left with him, you know. He was like, your parents are not supporting you, so why even like bother? Like, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna show you like that you can achieve stuff. So I became very I separated myself from my parents and my family, because I was like, they don't understand me, and we didn't have the luxury. We never practiced having like conversation and communication. So anyway, that was at 17 years old, and then 18 years old, and I went, you know, every year I was just competing, but the more I was competing, the more I was into this lifestyle, the more I was into that relationship, the further away I was going from my parents' path and what my parents was like teaching me. But as I said earlier in this interview, what my parents have shown me and set me as an example, like I knew there was good things to do, and the right good things to do, and the bad things to do. And I've split up with the guy after the Olympia.
Right after your first Olympia.
Yeah, right after the Olympia, when I finished second. And
what made it happen for you, without going into much detail? Why did you decide, okay, this is enough for me, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore? Was it destructive? Was it a bad relationship?
Yeah,
okay.
It was. We were, I think, if you would watch the interview, like, he would agree with me today. It was, we had a very toxic relationship, very toxic, and it even hurts me more, like, sometimes to think that in 2018 I was like that much successful, and now that I'm free from all that, I'm not winning any shows, you know. Like, that's how this year has been so rough for me. Especially like at the Arnold, when I finished 6th, it's like it shoved me in the face, and I was just like, wow, you guys are telling me that you won the 2018 Olympia, but you don't really know who I was in 2018. Like, I remember crying before stepping up to the Olympia, because we got into a fight and he was telling me that I was like useless, and like, you know, that I owe him everything that I got. Like, everything that I got, I was nothing without him. And like, that was 20 minutes before going on the Olympia stage. Like, my makeup was ruined, literally.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
how did you put yourself together?
you just put your smile on, and you do it. Like, you kind of remind. That's when you remind yourself that you went to the gym every day, you dieted every day for yourself for that day, so don't mess it up right now. And
wow.
Yeah.
What happened when you finished second and stuff? Did his attitude change, or?
I mean,
he must have been.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
He did, but that's how it is with this kind of person. It's a roller coaster. It's like when it can go very good, and then it can go very bad in a matter of seconds. And
you had enough, no matter what, even though he was like nice again. You just said that's it.
Yeah, one day I just told myself, you know what, like, I think what was it for me was like, in the Philippines, I finished second, and we went on this like boat trip after, and I just realized how happy I could be by my own self. And even though I lost, and I thought that I was like, when, you know, like, I finished second, and I was like, now I feel completely useless, and all the things that you told me before is actually happening right now, and I'm still feeling happy on the inside, means that I don't need you anymore. I don't need that kind of toxicity into my life for you to remind me that I need you. I don't, you know. I just need to show up for myself every single day, and that's what I did for the Arnolds. But the Arnolds, I kind of lost myself between all this, and 2019 to this year has just been to learn to be myself again, and yeah.
Wow.
To be myself for myself, by myself, who I really want to be, what I really want to do, why I really want to do it. And every day I come up with reasons why I'm doing what I do, and I feel so much more confident with myself. But it's not there yet. It's still a work in progress, you know.
You're still so young. You're still, I mean, I don't remember by 24 having it all figured out. You're so mature beyond your age. I don't know why that is, but probably because it's a struggle. You know, when you struggle a lot when you're young, you have to deal with this kind of stuff. It makes you age faster, I guess, or mature faster. You know, so
I had to become an adult like very fast. Quickly, and like I've seen stuff that a lot of people like would never deal in their whole entire life, like very harsh stuff. And I'm carrying this with me every single day. So me not addressing him into any interviews before, it's not because I'm ungrateful or anything, it's just something that's part of my past. That's part of my story. But I don't want to carry it with me anymore.
But it made you who you are today, which in the end is a good thing, right? Because if you don't go through adversities and issues, then you don't really grow up, or you don't actually, you don't mature, or you don't whatever you want to grow, you know. So from it, so.
But I have to say, like, he's one of this person. I know, but being very, very smart can sometimes harm to yourself.
Yeah. Are you guys still in touch or no? No. Put it in the past. Okay.
But you know, I wish him all the best. You know, of course. Yeah.
I'm sure he's proud of you, even if he would not admit it. I mean, it's like, if anything, maybe he has regret. You know, who knows? Talk about relationship with Shawn a little bit, because this is something that I don't know, that you don't talk a lot about either much. And Shawn's obviously a few years older than you, but for some reason you guys seem to have this really good relationship together and seem to be getting along great. And just the fact that he actually encouraged you to do this interview, so you can tell your story and give people the chance to relate to what happened to you, or is great. You know, so talk to me a little bit about your life with Shawn and your relationship with him. What attracted you to Shawn, aside from the fact that he's a great guy?
Yeah, he's great, you know. And Shawn is a little bit like me, which is weird because I would never thought I would deserve someone like Shawn into my life, especially with everything that I have been through. And even when I met Shawn, I was like, how can it be so simple? How can it be so great every day? How can you wake up every single day and be like, this is just gonna be a great day, you know? Because I woke up for 5 years asking myself what's gonna happen today, because there was always something bad happening every single day. I was never sure if it was going to be a good day, thank God. But I swear it wouldn't be like, there was never 2 good days or a great week.
You're talking about back home.
Yeah, back home.
Oh God.
You know.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like back then when I had 2 good days, it was like, oh my God, like the next day it's gonna be so awful. I know it's gonna be like terrible.
That's how you were thinking, though. It was not reality, but that's what you were thinking.
No, but it was.
It was reality.
Yeah.
But
the relationship that I had before.
Don't you think that to a certain point, when you think that way, or when you're fearful about how the day is going to be, instead of telling yourself that the day is going to be great, you kind of bring it on yourself? I believe that. Your way of thinking, or the fact that you're thinking negatively, I used to think very negatively when I was living back home. I don't,
yeah.
You know, people know me today, and I tell people that all the time. if you knew me when I was living back home, you would have not liked me at all because I was very negative. I was very down on myself. I was very, not that I wanted to be that way. It was just the case.
Yeah.
And then when I moved here, which was one of my dreams in life, everything switched. And we talked about this before, you know, the fact that you feel at home in California and you feel like you belong and this is where you're supposed to be. Right away, your way of thinking changes, you know. So of course, whoever you're with can accentuate that or make it, you know, worse. So I think the fact that things were hard back home and the fact that you were where you were, all that stuff were just contributing for you having bad days instead of good ones.
Sure.
You know, because here, if I ask you today, I'm sure most of your days are good.
All my days are
You
great,
see,
honestly.
you see what I mean? How can you explain that?
I know. Well, I mean, because the person that I'm with, you know, I feel like I've been so like unpowerful with, because I was living for the other person. Like it was a lot. When you're in a relationship, you become. I don't believe in becoming one, but like you make sure that someone is 100% and the other is 100%, and then you become like, you know, 100%. But I mean, it's not. It's, how can I say? It's just so imprévisible. You know, like my ex relationship was so imprévisible, but it was
Unpredictable.
yeah, unpredictable.
Yeah.
But like crazy.
Yeah.
But Shawn is just like life, you know. Like, I mean,
Smooth sailing.
yeah, and it's just great. It's just great to know that you're gonna wake up today, and of course, like you start feeding yourself like good energy feed itself, you know.
Of course.
And you go to bed happy, you wake up happy the next morning. Like, what can happen? And Shawn had this way of being so calm, this calmness and peacefulness, and just bringing. You can have the worst day and you start crying, and like sometimes I'm just like I want to cry, I want to be angry, and I'm like, can you just be angry with me just a little bit, just to help your case, please, my case. But he's just like, just breathe, you know, and it goes away.
Wow.
And I realized that if you don't feed that energy and negativity, like it really goes away, and you can go back to being your best version of yourself. And Shawn had not only allowed me to do that, but had pushed me through it. Pushed me to not fight against myself. And it was so weird at first, because I've been so used, like, for the 4 or 5 years to fight over going to the gym, to like fight, like, and going to the gym like kind of like angry because I had to fight for my dream. I had to fight against the relationship that I have telling me that I was not good enough, or fighting against my parents that was telling me like, this is not good, like what you're doing, like fighting against like school, fighting against my friend, like always like fighting, you know, always like contre-courant, like.
Yeah.
But Shawn has learned me to just like, here's your path. Just one step at a time, just do it, you know? Just step forward. And it's kind of like, it almost like made me like uncomfortable at first, because I'm like, it can't be that easy. Don't make it seem like it's easy. It's not easy. It doesn't become easier, but you're just more in control. And he let me have this control. He's running to do something.
We can't see this. What's he doing?
I just always tell her, don't forget your Lauralie-My at the end of the day.
Yeah, and
What is that?
He's saying that don't forget your Lauralie-My, and I was like, what does that even mean? You're Shawn Roden, like. I mean, but I've never felt like, you know, when you tell me like you're Shawn's girl, like he never made me feel that way. Never. And I appreciate that.
He's a big fan of yours, and that's great, I think, because it's hard. I think for certain people to really be happy of their success. I'll give you a good example, and I hate to bring this up, but I've been going to Kathy LaFrancois's gym almost every day, and I remember when she was still competing back in 2003, she actually won the female short class Arnold Classic or Miss International, competition. and at that time she was separated from Lee Priest. She used to date Lee Priest at the time, and because she won, Lee got really upset with her because she actually won the title, and I felt so bad for her because it should have been a celebration. You should have been proud of her for her to win, but some people are not able to deal with their mate being successful, you know. So I love the fact that even though Shawn is successful, he wants you to, you know, be successful as well. And if that means that you win the title and he doesn't, or he can't, or whatever the reason is, it's not going to bother him.
Right.
And I love that about people because that's who you should be with, right?
It's true. And it's not even like, I know he believes in me so much, but it's not even about having, he understands that there's no guarantee of me having a title. He's just believing in what I can achieve, but if it's the title I can achieve or like a second place or just like, but he believes in me being the best version of myself. That's it.
But that's how you win, you know.
Yeah.
If you do it just because you're trying to better yourself and you're just trying to be the best you can possibly be, it doesn't really matter if you win or not in the end. But a lot of time you will win because of that. Because you know.
Because you become undeniable.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's how you guys live your life every day. That's awesome. Especially considering everything he's been through. Not just last year, but I mean, it seems like with Shawn, every year something happens to him where, you know, he loses a contract or something always happens. He gets sick, you know, as he was prepping for the Untold. I really feel for the guy, but he don't even feel sorry for himself ever. He never feels sorry, and he's such a great example, I feel, for people because no matter what happens to him, from the way I see it on the outside, because I'm an outsider, he never makes excuses. He never feels. I mean, I remember before he won the Olympia when he got 5th place, and I remember vividly coming out, you know, where all the athletes are coming out in the end, and I saw him, and I said, "Oh man," I told him, "Sorry about your placing, Shawn. It's just a bump in the road." And he says, it was a setback. I called it a setback. Don't worry about the setback. He says, "Man, it's not a setback. Like, he wasn't bothered at all." And then from, of course, that year to the next, he won the Olympia, which to me is like, I wish I was more like him because he's just so strong mentally, you know. Which is,
he really is. It's impressive. As I said, like sometimes I'm just like, you have all the reason, and he had all the reason. Like if you knew like all the stories.
Yeah, I don't know half of it.
Like,
for sure.
He had 1,000 and million reasons to just give up, and like I mean, give up like a lot of times, or give up, or be angry, or just
Get
doing
down on
something.
yourself. Yeah.
Everything, and like big time. Sometimes it's like I see some stuff like so hard, you know, and people can be so mean also with social media now. Horrible, and he's still able to look at me with my small tiny problems and listen to me like it's the biggest like problem is like taking care of me and stuff, and I'm like, I can't make excuses in front of that guy, you know, but we're the same because I know like how he feels. Like if he finished 5th, it's like, let's just keep going, you know. If you finish 1st, you just go. You're still going. He still goes. He's Mr. Olympia. He still goes every single day, you know, at the gym.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you deal that you brought up social media real quick, and I'm sure a lot of people are massive fans of yours, and you have a ton of followers, but there's always the people who criticize and, you know, throw shade your way or negative comments. How do you deal with that? Does that affect you, or you just kind of like him, kind of just let it roll off your back, or is it easy for you
No,
to
it's
deal with
not.
that? No.
It's not. I mean, it's like at first you deal with the rejection of your friends, the rejection of your family, the rejection, you know, like that no support. It's hard. But then you have 10% that supports you and give you love every single day. I want to say thank you, all of you guys, because you're part of my journey, and this is so precious for me, the love that I receive every single day. And it can be one comment a day or one comment a month, but one comment makes my whole entire reason of why I'm doing this. Like, but no, it doesn't get easier, you know. If someone tells me like you have to learn English, I'm gonna be like, okay, I have to like teach how to speak English, you know. or people can be even more mean, but it doesn't roll off your back. You just kind of learn to deal with it. And I've seen Shawn like read comment. It hurts.
I was gonna say that was gonna be my next question. Does it get to him, or does he just is he able to let it roll off his back? You would know.
I mean, no, it hurts. Like it hurts. I mean, you know that it's not true,
Right.
but it still hurts that someone says it. You know, you're like, really, like, and how do you defend yourself? It's like you can't defend yourself. It's just someone who speaks like you're trying to convince yourself that they're trolls and whatever, they have no life and everything, but still someone is like kind of evil enough to just go and trash on your work, and you're like, but you don't even know me.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had to talk with Dexter Jackson a few years ago. I remember we're in front of goals, we're sitting on the bench and stuff, and I was telling him, because it just seems to me like he never cares about anything. That's the attitude I kind of get from Dexter. Like he'll say whatever he wants to say, and he doesn't care about pleasing the public, whatever, which is great in a sense. But we were arguing about over the fact that I was telling him, I think to a certain point, we all want to be liked, we all want to be appreciated, we all want to be loved, and we do care about what people think. And he says he doesn't, and I'm like, oh, come on, Dexter, you gotta learn, you gotta care a little bit. And he says, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't, for a simple reason that even if I was trying to do and say everything right to please everyone, I would never be able to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna be who I'm gonna be, and if they like it, great. If they don't, I don't give a shit. And there's some truth behind that, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing you can do is just live your life to the best of your ability. Do what you think is right, what you think is good, and hope for the best.
I mean, that's why I show up with you today and like I speak in an interview, and like we did all this interview because before I would be like, no, Dave, like my English is not good. I have all the reason not to be in front of the camera.
When did you ever think your English was not good? I thought it was so great since day one.
I mean,
Really?
because it's not perfect. So like the moment that you show yourself up to the world and being kind of vulnerable, like you let a space for them to attack you.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
That was scary for me until I was just like, you know what? This is what you're gonna get any time of the day. Like this is me, like raw, very raw. And I mean, I think when you tell the truth and you're being truthful to yourself and just raw and genuine, if someone really doesn't like you, well, I mean, just don't like me.
Yeah.
Because we can't be fit for anyone, for everyone.
That's right.
So that's it.
What do you want to get out of this sport? Like I know, obviously, probably one of your dreams is to win, you know, the bikini Olympia, but I think it goes further than that. I think your message is much bigger than just winning the Olympia title. What do you want to? How do you see your life? You're only 24 years old and you've accomplished so much already. But what do you want to put out there to the world, and what is it that you want to try to do and leave your mark?
You know, I've come to this sport, I believe, like a dark horse.
Yes.
Like that's what my nickname came from. Like they used to call me like Frank Seppi and Tony Ortiz. They were calling me dark horse, like at the 2018 Olympia. And I remember he was like, "There's 31 girls that are hating you right now," and I was just like, I didn't understand, but I'm just saying that of course there's a title I want to win. There's dreams that I have, but it's to make anyone from any age, any race, any like backgrounds believe in themselves and do this for themselves so much that you don't let anyone tell you that you can't do this, or just, and it sounds like very cheesy, like because I'm not rehearsing anything. I'm just trying to tell those people, those girls that are unsure, but if they have this fire inside of them that they wake up with every single day, don't shut it down, because you're going to be so unhappy. And right now I'm not rich. Like I'm not rolling on gold and like I'm the best, like, you know, I'm like the top 5 athletes in the bikini world. I'm sitting on it. No, I'm still working every single day, you know, but my God, Dave, I want to tell so much, but it will get there, you know. I'm still becoming the person that I am. yourself. Don't shut yourself down because all you have is you and all you have is your life. So make sure you live it to the fullest, and that's how I live my life to the fullest. By not eating, by eating chicken and broccoli every single day if it has to like be that, you know. Yeah. I know I'm gonna watch this interview and I'm gonna be like, I know I should have said that, but for now that's what comes.
This is off the heart, and it's just it's not rehearsed. I had no clue what you're gonna say today. We just said let's get together and I have some things to say. So I'm glad we get a chance to do it. I think you're a great. Of course, I'm a fan of yours. You've known that for a long time. So is Jay. I just think your message is positive. It's great, and for someone who's so young, you're older beyond your years. You're very mature. And I think you're a good example for all those people getting into the sports. And even people who've been there a long time who may still be struggling into, reaching their goals or just, reaching their dream. It's all about dreaming. At the end of the day, it's having something that would make you happy every single day, that would fulfill you every single day, and you feel like your life is going somewhere. And that's important, because I feel bad for people who just live every day and they really don't feel like they're living their life. They're, especially when they have a dead-end job that they don't really like and everything. And that's what was going to happen to me if I stayed in Canada. I left because I felt like if I'm not pursuing my dream, moving to California, and I had no clue. I didn't go to university. I had no degrees. I had no job lined up. But I knew this was my dream for me. And I figured I'll figure it out once I get there. And if I stayed home and I got a career or a job I didn't like, then you feel like you're earning your life. You're wasting your life earning it. You know what that means?
Yeah.
So you're surviving every day, but that's all you're doing. You're just surviving. Who wants to live like that? But so many people are just surviving. Yeah. And I find it sad.
I mean, that's for me. There was a secure path, and then this path right here.
It's a gamble. You took the gamble.
Yeah, you took the gamble. Why not? And then you figure it out, but you know that every single day you're gonna feel, and I'm telling you, like, whatever you do, if you feel accomplished by playing Monopoly every single day and being the best Monopoly player, do it,
Makes you happy.
Yeah, because nothing can buy you the feeling of accomplishment that you get every single day. Like, and I feel accomplished the moment that I finish my 120 grams of chicken and rice because I didn't eat like something else. I feel like
my cookie dealers.
Yeah, exactly. Like actually.
Sean's eating my cookie dealers. Shout out to Juan Montreal for sending the cookie dealers.
Yes, and Karen, because and I'm gonna show you the refrigerator because I'm the one who preps Shawn's cookie every day, right? So what I do is I cut them in half because I want him to like taste all of them.
Yeah.
And then taste it and then tell me like, okay, so this one, how much is it? Like on 10? How do you like it? And I have half of every cookie he ever got, Juan never ever sent, in the freezer waiting for me because I wanted to have them after the New Year Pro, and I'm actually going to do a YouTube video eating all of them, like one piece of each, because I'm a foodie at heart. But
I heard you're an eater. Shawn tells me you can put food away like crazy. We may have to film that one day. Yeah. That would make a good video. Yeah. How can you eat so much? You just have a good appetite?
Yeah, good appetite and like good food.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. And I love cooking. I love cooking for Shawn too. And
well, you hit the jackpot on this one.
Exactly. And we love like the same food, and we have the same, like we go to IHOP and Cheesecake Factory. Why? Because we know it's gonna be good every single time. It's like a guarantee. Like
I love cheesecake. Oh my god, Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, people would be like, "No, why you don't go to other restaurant? Why to go to other restaurant? Why you like? That's a guarantee. Like your meal is gonna be good, But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave, for this interview.
Yeah, I'm so excited we got to do it today, and thank you for Shawn for suggesting it to you. And I always like to talk to you, but it's hard to get in depth with someone, in 15, 20 minutes, which is what we've done before. And I'm grateful for everything we've done so far. But it's just sometimes it's nice to just go deep and tell people what you're about. And I think you spoke to people a lot today, and they'll appreciate your candor and your honesty, because it's not easy. Just like you said, it's not easy to open yourself.
I've been pushing this interview for a long time because I was like, and even this morning I was trying to like put my pieces together. I was like, how am I gonna say this, say that? Like when when that question is gonna come in, I forgot all of it. You know, I just you come here, we start talking, and it just we made it happen. And I'm glad if only one person is in, you know, a toxic relationship right now. It's not in a good term with their parents. They're being able to use that interview and maybe just show this interview to some, like their parents, or show it to their partners that they are with, because people are struggling with the same issues sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So
Your reality today doesn't have to be the reality tomorrow. You can change things.
yeah, you do. But until you believe that you can do it, because sometimes you don't believe in yourself and your ability to actually be in control of your life. And that's such a luxury, but use it, but for your best self, you know.
Would you say you took control of your life like right after your first Olympia? That's when there's a turning point in your life when you can actually pinpoint and say, this is when I flipped the switch.
Philippines.
The Philippines, okay,
Yeah.
that's when.
When I finished second,
Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
that's when I came back. I was, you know, I was already back at my parents, but that's when I took all of my stuff from the house I was living with my ex, and that was it.
Wow. Yeah.
There was no turning back. I call Adam, my coach, the one that coached me for the Arnold,
Right.
in the plane for the Philippines. He made me a physique assessment. I was in the plane in the
Wow.
Philippines,
Wow.
and I started prep. I had a Christmas and went back to prep with
Wow.
him. So yeah, I've been go, but I've been always sure of one thing, and this is to win the Olympia. But it's not about winning the Olympia and have a trophy sitting at my house, because it's probably gonna end up in some room somewhere, you know, like hidden in a dresser or what's not. But it's about showing up for myself every single day and be like, that's your reward for showing up for yourself, for betting on yourself, for doing this for yourself for so long, for waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's your car is broke down because of the snow, it's not starting, but you're still going to the gym because you know you have to get to work and you have to go to school right after and get to your second job afterwards, and you have to do it right now because otherwise you can't get your cardio before midnight.
Wow.
You know, so
Yeah, you were telling me off camera that you actually appreciate the journey more than the actual reward itself.
yeah,
And
I don't know if that's a terrible thing to say. Because
No, I think that's great, but most people just solely focus on the end result, and they're kind of like going through a journey on autopilot. But you're actually living every day and taking it in and really appreciating the journey all the way.
You have to,
more.
because when before stepping on stage, you know, like those 5 seconds before you know they're gonna call your name, that's
Yeah.
what you remember.
Yeah.
You're like those 12. It's not even. You know, when I go on the Olympia stage, when I went to the Olympia stage, my last show, it was not about me, the 12 weeks prep. It's like the 5 years
Yeah,
that I've put work and showcasing what I have.
yeah,
And it's, you know, bodybuilding is such a beautiful sport because it's all you. What you've put in
Yeah.
every single day.
yeah.
Like, you know, like I wrote that thing the other day and I was like, you know, that cake that your grandma baked and you said no to that one bite, would it have changed something 5 years after? Maybe yes, maybe not, but I'm not gonna risk it. Because I want to know that when I step on stage on the Olympia stage, I knew and I know that I've done everything in my ability to be winning, even before stepping on stage. And that's what you want, to go on stage and be like so confident that you've done everything. Yeah,
Are you confident you can win the Bikini Olympia?
I am. I am. It's gonna happen today, tomorrow. I'm never gonna put a date or
Yeah.
a deadline on my dream.
Yeah.
Because that's my dream and it always has been, you know. Since the first day I stepped on stage, that was my dream. But I am 100%. My time is gonna come. My time is gonna come, and I'm gonna be so ready for it. You guys have no idea how I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be mentally, physically, spiritually so ready to win the Miss Olympia, and I think you have to have that. It's winning the Olympia is not just being able to say that you've won. It's a full.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
You know.
And I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that, and that's why I cherish it. I cherish and treasure it like so much, and I'm taking the time to. I'm not rushing it at all.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best every single day, but it's not like with the expectation that I'm gonna have it like right now.
Yeah.
Because then what?
Yeah.
And even though I have first place and second place, and you know I've won shows, and then I went on a downfall, and I'm just trying to like get back up slowly, and I could have given up. I mean, I could have been like, I finished first, I finished second at the Olympia. That's been good. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
You know?
I hope when you do win, because I'm sure that eventually you'll win. I hope that you get to take it all in. And I'm saying this because sometimes we're chasing something for so long, and when it finally happens, you miss the moment. And I'm saying this because Jay told me many times that when he first won in 2006, after chasing Ronnie for so many years, when he won it in 06, you can't hardly see him being like excited on stage. And he said he missed the moment. Maybe it was just too overwhelming or whatever. So in 09, when he came back and won the title again, he got it. He actually was able to take the moment more and appreciate it, especially after losing the title. You know, so I really hope that when you do win, you are mentally ready to take it all in and be really happy for what you accomplished. It's such a big goal, you know. Yeah,
that's what I was telling you. Like, I'm gonna be so ready, but like not so ready like only physically, but like spiritually, mentally. Like, I'm gonna be really in all spheres of my life and my own human being of being Miss Olympia.
Yeah. Hopefully you jump on stage and laugh.
I will. Bring all my people.
You know, I really loved when Shawn won because he really, and he doesn't show emotion. You know how he loses, he's like, yeah, whatever. But when he won the Olympia in 2018, he just was biggest smile and just holding that trophy up in the air and stuff. And I think just the whole entire arena just was with him and happy for him. And I was glad to see that. I was glad that he was truly happy and he had called it before the show, but you never know what could happen. And I don't know, for me it was a special moment just because I do like him on a personal level, and I was just so glad for him. And I was sitting in the aisle with his, you know, with Michelle and with his family and his fans, and we just went nuts. You know, it was just great. All the people in the arena. It was just so it'll be the same thing.
You can see like in the video, like actually the 2018 video, you see like everybody is just like holding it so much, and then it just pops out. Like you just Shawn, like not even like this, he's just like hands up in the air, like,
oh yeah,
this is it. That's
oh my god, it was just, you know, we were hoping, we thought after the pre-show, what you never know until they call in your name if it's gonna happen or not, and it was just great. So I hope your turn comes. I'm sure it will come, and we'll be there to see it, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, we're gonna watch back to all of our interviews. What a journey.
Oh my god, yes, this is the fun part of the journey. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this exclusive interview with Lauralie, in-depth interview, and I'll let you say the last word if you want to thank anybody or.
I want to thank everyone who's watching today, who has been following my journey. You guys are the biggest part of my journey right now, every single day that I wake up, and I want to thank you all. Thank you, Dave.
Always.
And
you can thank Shawn also. He's okay. He's over there filming.
Yeah, I'm gonna thank Shawn and my family. You know, everybody that supports me. I've been so unsupported and like for so long in this sport, so I know how to take care of my support, you know, and like I appreciate my support so much. So thank you.
Yeah. Dave Mac 6 with Lauralie-My, and this is JayTV Muscle Beach TV interview exclusive, and we're out. You gonna show me that fridge?
Yes. Right. So hopefully no one's not gonna be like upset because. Okay. Well, we have some salmons, you know, like we're still bodybuilders here. But here it is. So I have a full
Oh, jeez.
box of half, it's literally half cookies.
Wow.
I have every flavors of the cookies, so that's a big box right here.
Wow. Well, he hooks you up on one. What a good guy he is.
Oh, they're so good. They're
He's
so nice.
yeah, Karen and
And I just love like prepping cookies for Shawn, you know. And that's another, like, that's all cookies.
oh, jeez.
Yeah, and just half of them, you know.
Wow.
So I'm gonna have a feast eventually.
When is that going to be? Do you know? You don't know.
Well, I mean, I could do it now because there's no show happening. But I don't know. I want this to be great, you know.
Yeah.
I want to be like mentally prepared, like gonna film it. I don't know when's gonna happen. We'll see.
Mr. O, you know, as I'm looking through your apartment, I see a couple of trophies over there, but the sandow seems to be missing. Where is it? Did you hide it in a case somewhere or in a safe?
Well, you see him getting ready for this.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's these third cars coming over.
And with the sandow, I've never been one, Dave, to
This is so
worry
bad.
about. Funny story. Let me start out. I went to Ronnie Coleman's house once. Actually, the first time I went to Ronnie's house, I looked around his house for those, amazing sandow that he won over the years competing, and I was going to be there for 2 weeks. But the first night I got there, it bothers me because, I'm in the house of the greatest bodybuilder that ever set foot on the planet. I'm expecting to see this shrine, with lights coming from the ceiling and, there was nothing. I kept looking around the house and, I said to Ronnie, it's bugging me, like, where are the sandals? And he goes, oh, you walk right by them. I'm like, really? Where? And he goes, first room. Light was off, pitch black. He walked over, turned the light on, and there's a case against the wall with all these trophies that he's ever won. And the sandows are just sitting there. And, he says, no, Shawn, after a while, it just become trophies. I've always been, that same person. I think, like, starting off competing, all my trophies are at my mom's house. And, they've asked me several times, like, when are you going to come and get them? But I don't need to constantly be reminded of my accomplishment or what I've done or how hard I've worked. I know how hard I've worked, and it's installed in my head every single day. Have them display constantly for you to, brag or feel as if you've done something makes no difference to me. The sandow that's sitting in the case, I think I might have took it out since 2018, a total of maybe 3 or 4 weeks. But it's sitting over there.
Can we go? Show me. Because I'm not even seeing it.
Because it's literally in the box.
So these were in the closet for a while. See, this is, I'm proud of that.
Yeah, that's better than the sandow.
Exactly. I'm thankful for that stuff. I don't mind displaying. This is from the Arnold
Look
Classic.
at that. Those are great.
This is from Kuwait. These are actually in the car in a shoebox.
Ah, Jesus, Shawn.
I'm not disrespecting
I
what
know.
Olympia stands for.
No, I know.
You carry it with yourself every day.
Yeah, it's in the car for a while, and I'm very thankful, and I meant a lot being at the Olympia competing against those guys. The best of the best. It was.
That's a good picture. Look at that.
Yeah, these are. For me, these stuff means a lot more
Yeah.
than just staring at a trophy constantly. But even this guy here, Cora broke it, and you guys could tell, it was a project for me and her to gorilla glue it. Because she was very upset. She said she broke Daddy.
Aww.
But
Wow, that's a project.
yeah,
That's how big the sandow is? That's a huge box. Oh, that's what you got it shipped from Vegas, or?
I actually carried it from Vegas.
But wait, you've seen Sando?
Yeah, I've seen it, but I didn't see this box. So yeah, it's much bigger than it used to be.
This is the last original Sando, because I think the new one had, Brandon has.
Oh wow.
Here we go, folks.
He still got it. He didn't sell it. Yeah, look at that.
Still here.
Nice. Wow, it's well protected.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was we just did it for the interview, guys.
I know. Shawn, let me ask you this real quick while I got you on camera. You were here while we were talking with Lauralie and stuff. When you finally won that title on stage, were you able to take it all in? Were you able to appreciate what it meant?
I remember nothing, to be honest.
Really? It's a blur?
And I just talked to Chris about this the other day. I remember after prejudging, I think after Thursday night, I remember stuff vaguely. Thanks to Stan and videos that I saw.
Yeah.
I keep putting pieces together as far as what happened. But after prejudging, everybody was, we won. And I got back to the room and I looked at Chris and I said, I need to be better tomorrow. And he goes,
Yeah.
Of course we're going to be better. And, at the finals, I remember being backstage pumping up. I remember looking at the monitor a couple of times and everything kind of went to blur again. And I remember Stan telling me, Chris says change trunks to black. And I was like, I knew he was going to do that. I did bring my black trunks because I was wearing red. And I was so much in the moment of being on stage because Phil is an amazing athlete, taking nothing away from him. 7 times Mr. Olympia for a reason. And I know every Saturday night, he always comes back better. So in the back of my mind, going out for the final, it wasn't about, I won. It was about, I got to fight. And people might think I'm crazy for saying this, but I'm like, fuck, I got to go ahead and fight again. And I wanted the posing just to keep going because I knew I practiced so much for that moment where if it wasn't come down to, hey, who's going to last the longest, I knew what Chris put me through, the entire week in Vegas. So I was just so focused in that moment where it was, okay, just call us again, just call us again, so just call us again. And I think finally when they said, and I was standing there going, okay, they're going to call us one more time. And they go, and knew it took literally probably a good half a second to a second for it to hit me. That new meant me. So that was the reason why I went, it was almost like, oh shit. Like, knew that's me.
Oh, man.
I think the first one just came to mind after that was, oh shit, where's my daughter? And so that was one of the reasons when Bob was like, hey, come this way. I was just like, I need to find my daughter, because at the end of the day, it was a great moment and a great accomplishment, but I wanted to share it with her. And, as far as realizing what was going on, kind of, sort of, I was already thinking about next year, to be honest.
Jesus.
It was almost like, okay, I got to be better next year.
Wow.
So there was no big celebration. There was no, oh crap, we did it. This is it. I got back to the room and I remember saying to Chris, what do you want my next meal to be? It was like, because it's always been the same thing, the same MO, whether it's first or fifth. It's always been, okay, wipe the slate clean. I got to get ready for the next show because we normally do all the shows after the Olympia.
Wow.
So the mentality was, okay, we won. And man, it was a tough journey, man. Chasing Phil and Dexter and all those guys, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It at times take everything out of me. And the only way I was able to reset is just telling myself, wipe the slate clean, back to the drawing board, let's do this again.
So you don't remember any of the interviews you did backstage after winning? Nothing? You were just on autopilot?
I just was literally like hit the auto switch.
Wow. Wow.
And I mean, we did an interview before, and I told myself I wasn't going to leave Vegas without the Sandow. So
Yeah.
I think by the time August rolled around, I felt as if I already won because I already was preparing myself, to win no matter what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah.
Because, I was going to bring the best ever Shawn Rhoden. I mean, at 238, people thought I was like 250 or 260.
How much were you?
238.
Oh my God! Wow.
People thought I was a lot bigger, but
yes.
I was dry as a well, and the focus was, we're going to win the Olympia no matter what it takes.
It was a great year, man. I just, I got to tell you, it was refreshing to have someone going into it with so much confidence, but in a good way, not in a cocky way. And I remember seeing you Friday night in Stan's car, sleeping on the passenger seat. And then I just, in parking lot, remember that?
I'm like, what's new?
I was just like, saying hi to Stan, and then you looked at me, you lifted your head and you saw me and you like, I'm winning tonight.
Yeah, that was.
And I was like, whoa.
I had to. I had to tell myself this, that, you know what? Like, Shawn, listen, you've done everything that you could have possibly done to get here. And I knew Friday morning when I woke up to walk over to Chris' room and I stepped in the ground, I literally heard my feet just cracked. I mean, it was that dry that I could hear it like tear. And I wobbled over to Chris' room, and Chris looked at me and he goes,
oh, yeah.
He goes, I know. He goes, you're walking in nothing right now. But we were that confident that at the end of the day, as long as we brought the best thing that we could have brought that day, don't worry about anything else. Like at that point, it's just in the judge's hand. And it's just a matter of, I've always told Chris, I just need to hear my name called in the first 3 names and I'll go out and fight.
Let me ask you something in closing. When you are able to compete again, can you repeat the same thing?
Can I?
Do you feel you can?
100%.
There you go.
I felt as if 2018 was a great year, and I started that prep at 258. I mean, right now I'm 286, and there's a different kind of fire.
Yeah, what happened to becoming small and fat in the off season? That's not the new. That's not Shawn Rhoden now.
That's a little different. I'm taking a different approach. I'm doing things that I've never done before. I'm deadlifting. I'm doing more free weights and dumbbells, and I've never deadlift or heavy barbell row or rack pulls, and this year has been dedicated to just training like I've never done before, and without a doubt, This is not being cocky. This is not being arrogant. Being on stage in 2020, I don't care who's there. It doesn't matter who shows up. I'm not spending my days checking to see
who's going to be qualified
who's going to be qualified or who looks what. Because I know the best version of Shawn is no one ever seen yet. And there's only 2 people that can piece that together. And that guy I speak to almost every single day. So the best is yet to come, and I'm looking forward to being on stage with all these guys.
Oh, you must miss it, dude. Are you missing it? You must miss it. I can't even imagine.
It's like being quarantined. It's like being, in your house, you can't do anything, and you say to yourself, man, that one time that I didn't go to the gym, I wish I could just get that one day back. That's how I feel. And I know 2020 is going to be a great year, and I'm looking forward to being back on stage with these guys. And, I love these guys. I think Brandon is great. I talk to Brandon all the time. And,
yeah, great guy.
The old guy is Mr. Benjamin Butler's about to retire. Rody, Cedric, Sergio, all these guys, William. The best part about it, these guys that are competing right now, I'm great friends with. These are guys that I talk to all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a lot more interesting being on stage, even though these guys are your friend, but being competitive and be able to walk off stage at the end of the day and say, congratulations. And I'm looking forward just to doing that. But I really don't care who's going to show up in 2020.
Oh, man. You're getting me chills, dude. I can't wait. It's very, very nice to visit you here, Shawn.
Yes, sir.
As usual, you're always a great friend of mine, and it's always a a breath of fresh air to talk to you, and I can't wait to see you back on stage. I'm excited for 2020, and thank you so much for having us in your home. And
thank you guys so much. But enjoy your Easter. Be safe, and please stay inside.
Yeah.